Social and political organization Marcha Patriótica has strongly condemned the arrest of one of its rural leaders, something they consider a retaliation for his defense of human rights, as well as his role in a nationwide campesino strike back in 2013.
We social organizations have the legitimate right to protest. We believe that the government is trying once again what it has been a continuous state policy in Colombia, which is to set up a situation in order to stigmatize communities and present the result that does not exist in reality.
In what has been labeled as judicial false positives, last week President Santos presented 13 arrested social activists as responsible for 2 recent bomb attacks. But later the charges ended up being related to a student protest. Now, as social organizations were denouncing the latest arrest, they received the news that a second leader was being arrested right in that moment.
There is a full offensive against social movements in Colombia. The government has the wrong idea that by weakening the social movements, it's going to accelerate the negotiations with the FARC, as well as establish negotiations with the ELN guerrillas. Basically, because there is a social movement that has been demanding from the government the bilateral ceasefire, and it is the social movements that have demanded a peace with deep transformations.
For Hector, a resident and leader of the war-torn Cauca state, the de-escalation of the conflict that the president has lately committed to necessarily implies that he also gives guarantees to social and rural movements.
What the government is doing is counterproductive. On the one side, opening up the possibility for a bilateral ceasefire, but on the other, putting chains and silencing the country's social movements, which for years, centuries, have been demanding real equality and real social justice. We have been struggling for a different Colombia.
Within the ongoing peace process, one of the points that have already been agreed to is the guarantees of political participation. Now, what social movements are demanding from the government is that it acts on its talk of peace in Havana and stop criminalizing social protest in Colombia. NATALIA MARGARITA, teleSUR, Bogotá.